Hey guys, and welcome back to Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem. We have collected all of the Scooby snacks and we have collected all of the monster tokens in all but 2 levels of the game. And that is where we are heading now. So let's trap these bats that suddenly show up here in Creepy Crawlies Part 2 when you've collected the soap power-up. And that then allows you to enter Little Lab of Horrors. A level that I am not particularly a fan of. No pun intended. Just realised I said that at the wrong time. But yeah. Let's go back down and grab those last few snacks. There are a number of reasons to why I don't like this level. Number one, they like to spam the hell out of the 2 most annoying enemies in the game. We've already seen one of them, the spooky space kook, but we're also introduced to our final enemy in this level. And it's a real pain in the ass. Another reason is this room right here. This floor is instant death if you touch it, because it's covered in electricity. And you have to keep hitting these switches, and then you have to wait for these magically moving bed things to suddenly get back to you. And then you gotta wait for the 2 to align properly so that you can actually jump from one bed to the other. It's very tedious. So that's the thing with Little Lab of Horrors Part 1. Everything can kill you. Part 1 in particular. Part 2 is actually quite safe. Part 3 is a bit more dangerous, but other than that, it's mainly Part 1. Yeah, that radioactive waste in the corner is perfectly fine, but the electrical floor isn't. I mean, it's electrical. So it makes sense. Doesn't seem to affect any of the machinery in this room though. Yeah, don't bother jumping for the Scooby snacks. You just got to hit both switches to activate whatever these circular things on the ceiling are, and now we wait. We wait forever for the bed to get back over here so that we can then jump onto the bed. And you think that it's simple as that? It isn't. It isn't. We've now got to wait for the other one to align with it. And that wasn't enough. Now we have to keep waiting. Clearly one goes further than the other, so they're not synchronized. So let's see if this one will do it instead. Can we get any more luck with it this time? There we go. Just made it, because it does go a bit further. And now jump onto these barrels. And if for some reason the camera is a bit delayed with turning around, but it eventually does it. And now the risky part, because you now have to try and jump from platform to platform, and you don't exactly get a lot of space to land on. And should you fall off, well, you're probably going to end up, unless you are able to glide your way down to one of the beds, which is unlikely, you're going down onto the electrical floor, the electrical table, and I barely made that, and that is instant death, and you have to then start all over again. Hit the switches again, ride the beds again, try and jump across all these again, and hope that you make it this time. I hate Little Lab of Horrors Part 1, and now we get into the other reason as to why I don't really like this level. Those guys! Firstly, they have incredible vision. So this is, I believe his name is Charlie, if I'm mistaken, if I'm not mistaken. And in the game he's known simply as the Funland robot, like how Captain Cutler is known simply as the sea monster? That's something else. The ghost diver. This is Charlie from, I think it's just called Funland. The episode is called Foul Play in Funland, so I assume that's what he is. That's the name of the place. Only weirdly, in this game he can talk, which is odd. I don't remember him talking at any point in the episode. He can talk. I want to say he was also on wheels in the episode. Maybe he could walk around. I don't know. It's been a very, very long time. But Charlie is the most annoying enemy in the game. He doesn't infinitely spawn in like the space kook does. But, well, it's 2 things. Firstly, the only way to defeat him is to knock into him with the helmet and then perform the ground pound. Now that itself isn't so bad. It's a unique way of taking out the enemies, one that requires you to use both abilities. He is immune to the super ground pound thingamajig, whatever you call it, that stuns the enemies. The problem though is that Charlie is almost always with other enemies. By that I mean there's usually at least 2 Charlies, like there was just then. So what's going to happen is you're going to bounce into, you're going to knock into one, and then the time it takes Scooby to recover, you're then going to take damage from the other Charlie. And that is going to happen a lot. In addition to Charlie, in addition to other Charlies, he is almost always found alongside spooky space kooks, so we've seen how deadly accurate they can be with their lasers. So, those are the only 2 enemies that are in these levels. Like, Little Lab of Horrors and the level after it, they're the only 2 enemies that are here. It's just space kooks and Charlies. But they are incredibly annoying because they are the 2 most annoying enemies in this game, along with the Ghost. It's the one time they decided not to spam the Ghost. See, that's fine when they're far apart like that. One trick I do realise that you can do later on, you're still taking a bit of a risk because you can't move when doing it, but you can try and maybe get one of the Charlies trapped in the bubble or in the gum. And then they can't move. You can't attack them, but they can't move. And see, this is what you're going to get a lot of. Spooky space kooks and Charlies. You're going to be seeing a lot of them. And despite being robots, they are immune to the electricity. Isn't that lovely? So you've got to ground pound on these switches that have the most messed up collision detection in this entire game. There are some serious problems with the collision detection on these things. It's like the amount of times I ground pound onto one of these switches and nothing happens. Like, I'm on it. What are you... Thank you. So I'm clearly on the switch. I bounced on it twice and it didn't work. It's incredibly frustrating. That room that I was just in a moment ago, the one that had all of the green goop in it, it's just there. As far as I'm aware, there is no function to that room whatsoever. It's the same part as this one. Like, it's on the it's a bit further away from this room. But I have no idea what the purpose of that green goop is. I know it gets your Scooby snacks. If there's any other purpose to it other than that, I don't know what it is. Like, it's just an area that exists. Right, Charlie's monster token is up here, but now we get to the other thing that I don't like about Little Lab of Horrors. The structure. In particular, the way in which you gain everything. Mainly, this monster token right here. We can't get this monster token yet. We have to go into part 3, which then takes us back into part 2, which is how you then get into the final level of the game. And then you then need to glide over using your umbrella, go against the camera, hope that you collect the monster token, and then you have to go back into part 3 so that you can get back into part 2 and then make your way to the final level. Why is this switch not working? To say, I am hitting this switch whilst trying to avoid electricity and a space cube. At least the electricity is a bit weird as well. I do not know what is wrong with the collision detection on these things. Come on, platform, come back down. Come on, Scooby is fast. Platform is not. I honestly thought I broke something because I was waiting for so long here. There you are, I think. No, I didn't. Okay, I think what I did is actually at the platform. Yeah, then in the end I realised, hang on, the door is right there. The platform is simply risen upwards. I can't think of the word there. Because that's how we get into the final level. This one doesn't take us anywhere. This level is a loop. More electricity, more space kooks. This electricity lasts for a very long time. They didn't all turn on at the same time, thankfully, but... See, that's what I expect to happen when I hit the switch. Yes, I know you can see me. I want to know why you can now talk. Right, those platforms are automatic, but we do need to hit all the switches first. I don't think you can actually turn off the electricity in here. Right, I think that activates the platforms. Yeah, it does something anyway. What does all this electricity stuff do? Like, we never get any explanation as to what this lab actually does. I mean, the professor has all sorts of weird inventions, but they're almost all just standard household objects. And some chewing gum. So I have no idea what the purpose of all of this is. All I want to know is this how the professor makes his way around the lab? There are some very annoyingly placed Scooby snacks in these levels. So there are some that are incredibly easy to miss. In particular, there is the Scooby snack that is located right above the door to the final area. Off screen, you cannot see it. I think it was in my last playthrough or the one before that. It was something forever. It turned out that was the one I missed. Well, look who we got in our monster token.
Cool, a monster token.
The chewing gum isn't quite going to be high enough. You got to use the bubble. But that's as far as the space kook will go. So we got to get further away. We'll look around for a bit and then eventually he starts walking. The posture he walks in looks really weird. I don't know why. Right, wait for him to come back around. It took too long. Let's wait for him to come around again. And there we go. And we got the Mastermind monster token. That is why we're finally going after him. We're making our way to the Mastermind. There's another switch just up by this platform. Not that platform, a different platform. That one, the platform with the switch on it. That was close. Again, I am right on the switch. Why is nothing happening? Thank you. That unlocks the door. And now we can make our way back to part 2. Which will then... Unfortunately, we then have to go after the Charlie's monster token. Which means that we then have to loop around again. Make sure you grab these Scooby snacks. Yeah, and this is what you gotta do. Go against the camera for a bit. The camera does turn around. And that is how you get that token. So, once you've gone back into part 3, made your way all the way back up again, and now come back here, now you can go like normal. There's the warp gate, and the most stupidly placed Scooby snacks in the game. That is a really dickish place to put that. This is the room that had that green goop in it. I have no idea what the purpose of it is. You need a lot of Scooby snacks. Luckily, there's plenty in the game. Now it's time for the final area of the game. This is Mastermind Unmasked. No rhyming or anything like that for this level. Yeah, Shaggy's under attack. There's a shark in here. Yeah, it's weird. I was playing this like alongside replaying Batman Arkham City. Both games just happen to have like both games are full of bats. Both games have giant sharks. The Arkham City one is a little bit bigger than this. By that I mean it's much bigger, but still, bats and sharks. And weirdly, in this room, the Charlies actually respawn. I don't know why. It's just instead of there's no space coots here, but the Charlies will respawn. You don't even get a sound effect for it like you did with the space coot, which I now have recently discovered is a stock sound effect. It isn't anything exclusive to this game. Right, get on to Shaggy. I don't know if you can get hurt when the shark jumps up. I just know that you can't fall into the water with said shark. Which makes sense. He will occasionally jump out of the water.
That takes care of him, but
And then he just disappears.
get rid of that water.
Just like that. There's no animation whatsoever. The shark literally just disappears out of existence just like that.
Right.
That is a bizarre one. All of the Scooby snacks are in this room. There's only 64 of them. And they are all found in this room. Still can't fall in the water. You want? Oh, I missed. Or, no, I didn't. I believe the... No, there's a Scooby snack up there. Wasn't there some in the tub? I don't remember. No, there wasn't. Okay.
Good job, Scoob. Now get down here and give me a boost.
Yep, so now we gotta get in there while Charlie goes nuts. I have no idea what he's doing. And that's it. That is every single Scooby snack, every single monster token in the game. That is absolutely all of it. It's quite a long process, but if you go after as many Scooby snacks as you can when you enter an area for the first time, the backtracking honestly isn't too bad. You don't have to go through that many things. It was enough for me to do it all in one go. And that's all of it. There's every single Scooby snack. I probably didn't really need to showcase all of this because I kind of did it before already. And there we go. Charlie is kind of going a bit nuts down there.
Right.
Okay, just launch Shaggy upwards in the right direction. I have no idea if it's possible to accidentally launch him outwards. And it's the game program to then send him up the stairs if you do. He's actually saying, where are you? Charlie can't talk, I think. Final area of the game, Mastermind Unmasked Part 2. It's time for the final boss. But we have another room to conquer first.
Ready, Randy, Wilma, Raleigh.
Hey, Scoob!
Scooby! Scooby-Doo! Glad to see you!
Hey, pal, what am I, chopped liver? Chopped liver.
Careful, Scoob! That vat is filled with acid.
Acid?
Come on, Scooby. You can do it. We're almost at the end of this mystery.
And I've got a plan.
Okay, here I come. Ooh.
Yeah, so the green goop was acid. Still doesn't explain what the purpose of that one little room and little lab of horrors is, or what the point of draining it is besides getting the Scooby snacks, but I guess that is the point. Right, final area gives you one last little thing to your gum and to your soap bubbles. That was close. That was close as well. That killed me. And yeah, when you die you get a Mastermind laughing at you now. I thought I was finished with Mind Over Mutants. Right, you have to jump off of that one to get the chewing gum. And just glide over.
Phew.
Good job, Scooby! But why would anybody need this much acid anyway? The acid in those vats is used for etching. It was used to make those funky lenses that were in my glasses.
This must be part of the professor's top secret invention.
Jinkies! And now I know just what it is. The professor was making super real holograms.
Like what on earth is a hologram?
Holograms are images made out of solid light, Shaggy.
Like the creeper from my glasses.
Like, wow! So that's where all the monsters have been coming from.
Jeepers.
Really? There's no roasts?
That's right, Scooby. No ghosts. Now listen up, gang. I've got a plan. But Scooby's gonna need to keep the Mastermind distracted for it to work.
Me?
And that will buy us all the time we need to turn the tables on old Fright Face.
Yeah, and then he'll face the fright. Ready, Scoob? I'm not going anywhere.
Well, would you do it for a Scooby snack? How about a whole box of Scooby snacks?
Okay. Well, I'm ready. Right?
Come on, I've got like over 900 of these things. Over 1,000 even. I had no idea where this door goes, by the way. So yeah, the monsters are all holograms. Doesn't explain how I can run into them, but whatever.
Ah, yes. Soon it will all be mine. My brilliant plan is working perfectly. All that remains is... what? Impossible. How did you, a worthless cur, make it this far?
I don't know.
Well, your luck ends here. As well as all 9 of your lives.
I think that's cats. I'm not a cat.
Shut up.
Alright, final boss. It's a stretch to call it that, but the final boss. You're just defeating a load of space kooks and Charlies again. I don't know why they can still hurt me, because we now know they're not real. But I want to know, I mean, she did say they were solid, right? But as we will later find out, you still can't physically touch the holograms. So I don't know how I'm defeating these things. That still doesn't explain all of the traps and everything that are set up here. Anyway, the Mastermind will sing along to the song. Now we get spooky space kooks, but they actually don't infinitely respawn here. I kind of wish we got to fight different monsters rather than just these two. And it's kind of a 2-phase fight. The second phase is really short, but if you die in the second phase, which I did several times, you do have to do the first phase again. This is timed, by the way. The electricity will randomly turn off when the enemies are defeated, and then you have a limited amount of time to get back to them. They can also respawn right where you're standing. Luckily, you do get quite a bit of food. Ah. The space kooks are easy to get rid of. Yeah, you can do that, just gotta try and give yourself a bit more space. And that's that. Hit the switches one last time, and that's the end of phase 1. So somehow we failed to see them all up there. Right, the other enemies here are the distraction this time. So this was like my 3rd, 4th attempt, because I couldn't remember what it was I had to do. The Mastermind will block your attack, but I guess he's got a really strong cape. So you've got to try and bounce on the Mastermind's head, then knock into him with the helmet, get him into the electricity. It just missed, but I can now do it again. And even though the electricity immediately turned off, it was still there when he hit it, and that's all it needed. And that's it, that's the Mastermind.
Look, gang, there he is.
Well,
Now it's time to get to the bottom of this mystery. Come on, gang, let's see who the Mastermind really is.
Wait, Fred. Like I think I know who this guy really is. It's that spooky groundskeeper, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Blame the spooky groundskeeper. It's always the spooky groundskeeper. What do you people have against groundskeepers? Some detectives. Why don't you just say the butler did it? But no, it's always got to be the groundskeeper, don't it? Anytime some ghost scares somebody off a well-kept lawn, it's just got to be the groundskeeper. Like we couldn't just put up a sign that says, keep off the grass. Nah, I'll just get myself a big old rubber monster suit.
As I was saying, let's see who the mastermind really is.
It's Professor Alexander Graham!
Oh, me? Oh, my.
Uncle Alexander? I don't believe it.
I knew it all the time.
Something just doesn't add up. If you ask me, someone's playing a nasty trick. A trick of the light.
Wow! That was just another hologram. Holly, what are you doing there?
Zoinks! But Holly's right.
Wrong, Shaggy. That Holly was just another hologram. The real Holly has been the mastermind the entire time. Think about the clues.
Remember how Holly said she followed all of our cases? Only she'd know enough about our old foes to program holograms of them.
And I noticed how she passed through that rail near the secret lab.
By setting up a hologram of herself when the mastermind was around, she'd have the perfect alibi.
But what I don't get is how she got the professor here. In a mastermind costume, no less.
Well, that's simple. She used my patent-pending, dressed for supper, suck you upper. I spent so much time in the lab that I built a device that could get me dressed and to the front door in seconds. That way I can...
Be on time to pay the pizza delivery man.
Exactly.
Rudy!
Holly must have used it to get here ahead of us and switch places with her uncle.
Who she'd already stuffed up there.
It was very uncomfortable, let me tell you.
Like, and don't forget the most important clue of all. Hologram. Get it? Hologram. Might kill me.
But why, Holly? Why go through all of this? You guys would have caught my uncle, and when he was sent to jail, I'd steal his super hologram invention and claim I came up with it myself. I would have made a fortune, too.
Well, it was a good plan.
Yeah, and I would have gotten away with it, too, if not for you meddling kids and your pesky dog.
Huh?
Here, Professor, let me help you.
Oh, thank you, kids. I don't know how to repay you.
Well, all these fiddles are a great start. Hey! Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
Alright, and that is Night of 100 Frights. There's a few things that just need to be addressed here. Number one, this song is awful. Number two, what on earth was the groundskeeper doing in that final shot just then? It looked like he was ready to karate chop something. Number three, well, there's a few questions that I have here. Firstly, if the monsters are all holograms, how are they being projected all over the place? Like, we see all the lights in the lab, but we don't see any of that anywhere. It's like, wow, these are some really good holograms if they can be projected from an underground lab in a mansion all the way over on some shipwrecks. It's like, that is some really... I know Scooby-Doo, but that is some really impressive technology. And also, what is with the names of some of these people? Gary Buttboy Putman. The names for these people sometimes are downright bizarre. Like, they're nicknames, I guess, but I have no idea what the hell's going on with some of these names. Who calls themselves Buttboy? I really hate this song though. So despite Holly, I'm guessing she was the mastermind, but she got sucked up to that tube and yet somehow got in there first. And had Alexander sucked up in there? I don't know. Razmig, the bug killer, something or other. Ray, Noodles, Hollywood, Barney, Jason, that guy, Tanny. That is weird. And of course, this. But when first, well, Holly was. They all got separated when they were in the mansion. So how did Fred end up in the hedge maze with, in quotes, Holly? Along with the fact that when did she clip through the railing in the secret lab? I mean, there is the part where Scooby calls out all their names. You can see, like, Holly will wave, like, hello. Her hand does clip through the rail. Is that supposed to be the nod to it? Because I could easily believe that was just the result of the model clipping through the railing. I don't know. Also, when Shaggy says, "What am I, chopped liver?" they bring that back in the next game. That exact same joke is used in Mystery Mayhem. Overall, this game is fine, but it's definitely got its fair share of problems. Most of them through collision detection. That can be a bit weird. You know, the backtracking is, you gotta do a lot of it, but it isn't too bad. Overall, the game is fine. It's incredibly easy, but the game is fine. It's full of Scooby-Doo, like, references, what's going to be callbacks, and that's all very nice. I still want to know what these fireworks are for. You can sort of this going one more time. Right, well, the game is done, but we've still got one last little thing to show off just to the side of the manor. So I will see you guys next time as we have a look at the Monster Gallery. See you all then.